So here we have a ulna. It's a right ulna, and this is the superior portion, and this is the inferior portion. This is where it's going to connect to the humerus, forming the humeral ulnar joint. And that surface in red is what's going to be articulating. That's the trochlear notch. Then over here in green, we have the radial notch, which is going to articulate with the radius, forming the radial ulnar joint, or the proximal radial ulnar joint. Why proximal? Because we have a distal radial ulnar joint, and that articulating surface is in red right here. So 3 joints: distal radial ulnar, proximal radial ulnar, and then humeral ulnar. This is the main one. This is the big one, the one we think about when we say elbow joint. So continuing forward, this is an anterior surface. This is a posterior surface. I know this is posterior because I can see the olecranon process, and that's where the triceps attach. In the front, I can see the coronoid process. Then we have the ulnar tuberosity, or tuberosity of the ulna. We have the supinator fossa, and we have the supinator crest. This blue line on the lateral border is the interosseous border. It's just telling you where the interosseous membrane would be sitting. Next, we have the head of the ulna, this whole thing. So this whole end is the head of the ulna. And on the head of the ulna, we have the articulating surface for the distal radial ulnar joint in red that we talked about earlier. And in green at the end, that's what's going to be articulating with the TFCC and the triquetrum. Then this little orange bit, that's the ulnar styloid process. Oh, one last thing I forgot to mention. It's got a great name. It's the sublime tubercle, which is kind of on the coronoid process, just on the medial aspect. Now here we have a radius. So it's going to be like this. It's a right radius. This is superior. This is inferior. We've got an anterior view right now. Up top, this is the head of the radius. And where you see red, everywhere red and up is head of radius. Orange is just showing you this is the articular circumference, or articulating circumference of the head of the radius. It's a long word. And then yellow is where this radius is articulating with the capitulum. So these different colors are just showing you those different articulating surfaces. So that orange is going to go to the radial notch that we saw earlier in green. So that's going to go like that. Whoop. Just a little bit down in blue, we have the neck of the radius, so neck and head. You can imagine this guy like floating around talking to you, and he's got a neck and a head. And then he's got his radial tuberosity, or bicipital tuberosity. Why is it called the bicipital tuberosity? Because the biceps go there. And then distally, it gets way bigger. So like the radius is small superiorly or proximally, but it gets bigger distally. So first of all, big thing here, this is the radial styloid process. And that's on the most like radial surface. So imagine my right arm is like this. It's going like that. And then here is the articulating surfaces for the scaphoid and for the lunate. So scaphoid lunate attaches to the radius. And then just like we had a radial notch on the ulna, we have an ulnar notch on the radius. And this is what's going to form the other half of that distal radial ulnar joint. So in red right there, and in red right here, that comes together and forms the distal radial ulnar joint. And then back here is the Lister's tubercle. And the Lister's tubercle is one of the ways that you can tell which radius this is. What you know is that this has to be distal, this has to be proximal. This radial tuberosity has to face like anteromedially. So this is facing anteromedially. And then you also know the radial styloid process has to be most lateral. And then you know that this guy has to be posterior. And all of that's going to tell you that this is a right radius. Cool. So if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. Let me know if you need to see any more structures or get a better view of things. So yeah, have a good day. Bye.